Hi, this is Rick Bice with Bice Fit Exercises on behalf of Edmonds Park and Recreation. Today we're going to go through a circuit training class. What we'll do is we'll alternate between strength training exercises for the muscles, bones, and connective tissues, and then cardiovascular exercise for the heart, lungs, and circulatory system. What we'll do, it's all timed, so what we'll do is we'll do a minute on an exercise. We'll take a 30-second break. We'll do another minute on the same exercise or something very similar, and then we'll move on to the next exercise. So I'll call all those out as they happen. What you'll need for this exercise program today is a chair over here, maybe some light to medium dumbbells, and some resistance tubing or band. Maybe light or medium, whatever you have on that. With or without handles, doesn't matter on that. We will begin with a warm-up. We will go through the exercises, then we'll finish off with a cool down and then some stretches at the end. This is all at your own pace, so we strive for a minute's worth of work. If you need to take your breaks, quicker than that, or if by the end of the minute you're not tired or fatigued, you could just go straight through that break that we have. So it's all up to you, the kind of resistance you use, whatever works for your body. Make sure your surrounding area is clear, that you've got room to move around, arm's width sort of stuff at least. You have a proper footwear for the floor that you have. If you've got slippery hardwoods, make sure that you're wearing good shoes that aren't going to slip and slide. If you've got thick carpet, making sure that your feet aren't going to get, isn't going to get caught on the carpet or something and trip you up. So just being careful. All right, let's begin. Okay, we're going to begin with a warm-up here. So nice and easy. Remember, we are just looking to get a little bit of blood flow to the muscles, to the joints, grease up those joints a little bit, stretch the lungs out. We just want to get the body warmed up and ready for activity. You can do what I'm doing, or you can do something else. If you've got exercise machines there, treadmill, rowing machine, elliptical, use those. Aerobic step, if you've got a stairway, that you want to go up and down, or a hall you want to walk back and forth on, whatever works for you. If you've got, exercises that you've done in a class, martial arts, sports, aerobics, Zumba, dance, anything like that, whatever works for you. For your warm-ups or your cardios. Again, the warm-up, this is going to be gentle. Won't even barely break a sweat by the end. We've got about 48 seconds left. It's a 2-minute total warm-up. Just want, to make sure this exercising and getting into things isn't a shock to the body, that it's warmed up a little bit. Check your space. Make sure you've got nothing to trip over. You've got proper footwear. It's not slippery, on the hardwoods, or you don't have a long shag carpet that you're having to work on. Making sure you're lifting your feet, picking your feet up, so not sliding, and you don't want to trip over anything. Make sure, coffee tables, everything's out of the way. Try to have, if you can, a good arm width all the way around you of space to work in. Good, 5 foot by 5 foot box if you can. Making sure there's nothing to trip over, or hands aren't going to whack the walls. All right, nice job. Great warm up here. We're going to get on to the first exercise here. Okay, we are looking at a doorway push-up. So instead of a wall push-up, using a doorway, that way your head and your upper body is able to go through the wall, basically, in the doorway. As opposed to bumping into the wall when you're doing push-ups. Here we've got your typical 30-inch doorway for closets, bathrooms, bedrooms, that sort of stuff. 36-inch can work, just all depends on how wide your shoulders are, how long your arms are. But if you can do the 30-inch doorways, if you have one of those, works a little bit better. So standing a little bit ways back from it, you're going to start with your arms straight at about chest height, kind of lower chest, and you're going to allow yourself to fall in and then push back. So we got a minute of this. Fall in as far as you can comfortably. Drop those hands a little bit more, keeping your core and your abdominal muscles nice and tight, as straight as you can. It's okay for your heels to come up off the ground. Allow yourself to fall in as far as you can and then push out. So this is a little easier way to do a push-up. Instead of doing it on counters or on your couches or on the floor, you're not putting as much body weight on your hands and arms. So a lot more body weight is on the feet. This is going to help out a little better here. There you go. All right, take a break there. So a little bit tougher on the wrists because your hands are like this and your wrists are bent. So if you're having wrist issues, what you can do is try a fist and come in. A little tougher to go in as far with the fist. What you can do, take a washcloth or something rolled up and pin your body weight against it so that you can do these and keep the wrist straighter and more neutral without having something so hard that your knuckles are placed against. That's kind of one of the only downsides of this one. Being on a doorway or a wall is that your wrists are normally like this and it's a little tougher. All right, let's try a second set here. So again, you don't want your hands too high because then you end up doing this, which is external rotation of the shoulders. We want forward and back, straight forward and back. So make sure those hands are low on the lower part of the chest, below armpits. And depending on where you're standing, if you're standing out further, it's harder to do. So again, this is going to be an easier exercise because you won't be able to put as much weight on your hands. You will not be able to stand back too far because we still want the hands coming right to the armpits and not doing this sort of thing, okay? Here we're working chest muscles, the pectorals. You're getting front deltoid in the front of the shoulder, and then you're also getting triceps in the back of the upper arm, along with core and torso and spinal muscles. All right, nice job. Let's move on to the next exercise. We are on the wall sit, static wall sit. So find a good wall in your house or a door, something, the smoother the better. So what we're looking at here is just taking a seat, and static means to hold still. So we're not going to slide up and down the wall. We're just going to sit and hold. How long you hold is up to you, 5 seconds, 10 seconds, a minute. Again, whatever works for you. Walk your feet out in front of you, making sure that your shoes and the floor are not slick. So I've got hardwoods, I've got some good sneakers on. My feet are not sliding at all. When I'm in this seated position, I want to pay attention to make sure the feet are not going to slide out in front of me. Last thing you want is to have them zip out and have you land on your rear. So taking a seat here, okay, back against the wall. How low you go is up to you. Knees or thighs parallel to the floor is about as low as you'd want to go. You want to have your feet out in front of you far enough to where the knees are above the ankles and above the shoelace area, not back here. Okay, you don't want those knees going forward. You want to put your weight against that wall, whatever you're leaning against, something solid, of course, in here, and taking a seat. And again, however long you sit is up to you. Make sure to breathe the whole time. If it's a door, make sure you're leaning against the part that's closed against the jamb. You don't want someone to open that door or have it maybe not, closed properly all the way and then have it open up when your weight goes against it. So really being careful. All right, take a break here. So really being careful of where you're doing this at, making sure it's solid, it's going to hold you, and if it's a door that it's not going to open on you or someone else isn't going to open, and also making sure that the floor is going to work. If you're wearing slippers and you're on a hardwood, your feet are probably going to zip out in front of you. So really making sure that they're not going to. If your floor is a little dusty, taking a wet paper towel and just hitting the bottom of your rubber shoes just a little bit to make them tacky, that can help out so that your feet don't slip at all. All right, let's try it again. Another minute. So in position, again, to walk those feet out, slide down that wall, make sure that the knees are not going past the shoelaces. My knees are right, about above the ankles right now. I'm about hip to shoulder width apart. I could go down a little further if I want. Really push your back into the wall, push your feet into the ground. Sitting up nice and right. These thigh muscles are having to work. Quadriceps, glutes in the rear are having to work. We've got about 25 seconds. And again, anytime you need a break, just, stand up. Stand up, all the way if you need to or whatever. And then get into a position where you can slide back down. Keep your rear on the wall the whole time. Don't have it sitting out. Low back and hips are against the wall. And about 5 seconds. All right, nice job. Okay, on to the next exercise. Okay, grab your resistance tubing or bands. Got some tubing here. I took the handles off. Again, you can use, have the handles on or not, doesn't matter. We're not going to use the handles for this exercise. So start palms down, gripping your tubing. And these are pull aparts. What we're going to do is we're going to anchor the band with our hands, and then we're going to pull our hands apart. Okay. As we pull apart, elbows go backwards, squeeze the shoulder blades together. Hands will start out in front of you, and they'll go backwards and apart, squeezing your shoulder blades together. All right, so a minute of this here. If you need more resistance, grab closer together to begin with, or a thicker, heavier band. If you need less, a smaller, thinner band, or just grabbing further apart. Ideally, you want to start about elbow to shoulder width apart as you do this. Elbows are going backwards. Hands are ending up on the outsides of the armpit. Hands are only coming apart for the most part because my elbows are going back and my hands are going backwards. I'm pulling apart the rubber band, but they'll come apart automatically as I go backwards already, because those hands will finish off right on the outside of the armpits. And squeeze the shoulder blades towards your spine. 5 seconds. Nice tight core. Take a break there. So a nice tight core, really everything nice and tight here. Make sure the hips are not moving at all. Okay, there's no movement of anything going on except for the shoulders, elbows, and shoulder blades. Those are all that's moving. Now, if gripping the band is a little tough for you, what you can also do is start palm down and then do a wrap. Same thing, do a wrap. Okay, that way now I don't really have to grip the band as much because it's just wrapped around the hands. All right, so we'll try second set here. So again, arms out in front of you, tighten the core, and here we go, back. Working the upper back muscles between the shoulder blades, the rhomboids. We're getting some rear deltoid in the back of the shoulder, some biceps in the front of the upper arm, of course gripping muscles with the hands, and then abdominals and spinal muscles having to support and hold. Whatever stance gives you comfort. Again, elbows go back and I squeeze my shoulder blades together towards my spine. Just slight little hold at the end and back. Breathing the whole time. All right, always breathing. Don't hold your breath ever. We're breathing through everything. Take note of the pink sign right back there in case you need something visual. Couple seconds, almost there. All right, well done. Okay. All right, we are on a cardiovascular, so getting rid of your rubber bands here. We got a transition. You can start right now, or you can take the 30 seconds of our transition to get ready. Get your space ready. Move things out of the way. Make sure you don't have any dumbbells or anything laying around that you can trip over. Grab a sip of water. You know, we want to stay hydrated through this, so anytime you're getting thirsty, probably already starting to get dehydrated. So keep your water bottle or glass of water close by. Grab a couple sips here and there, all right? And we're officially going to begin in about 3 seconds here. All right, and here we go. So about 2 minutes and 23 seconds left here. Cardio is very similar to your warm-up, except just a little more intense, a little faster, more brisk, okay? And again, whatever you want to do, whatever works for you, whatever's comfortable, you can do what I'm doing or do something else. Try to keep a nice pace, consistent movement with whatever works for your body safely, with your balance, your coordination, with the space you have, you know, whatever shoes and floor you have to work with. But we're trying to get the heart rate elevated. We're trying to get the breathing elevated. All right? Think of the talk test. I'm talking and I'm not too out of breath. I can still talk to you, so I'm okay. That's where I want my breathing and my heart rate to be. If you can talk out loud, you know, hey, what is your name? What's your favorite dessert? Start talking to yourself out loud. If you can do that, you're okay. If you can sing, or you know you're out of breath talking, then you may need to tone it down a little bit. Or let me rephrase that. If you can sing, it's probably too easy. If you're talking and you're out of breath, then you need to tone it down. You're probably going too fast. Think of the talk test. All right, we got about 35 seconds. And work with whatever you have as far as your space. Again, if you've got equipment to use or an aerobic step, or you've got martial arts moves or a jump rope or stairs to go up and down, whatever works for you, just get that heart rate up and try to be consistent. Even if you need to take a seat and just use your arms, that's fine too. If you're having knee issues or feet issues. All right, nice job. Whew, well done. Okay, heavy or small dumbbells, doesn't matter. I'm gonna go for these guys here. So deadlift from this angle here, basically bending over. You're hinging from the hips, all right? Feet about hip to shoulder width apart, toes flared out slightly. What you're gonna do is you're gonna hinge forward, okay? Not allowing the back to bow and round, you wanna hinge. So head and chest are gonna be forward, and you're gonna hinge as far as you feel comfortable, and then push forward and thrust the hips forward, okay? Or pull back and thrust the hips forward. So knees are gonna barely bend as I go down. They're gonna stay fairly straight, and then up, and hips go forward, okay? Nice and slow and controlled on this one. Real gentle going down as far as you feel comfortable. And then using that low back to pull you up, and then hips to finish it off. Squeeze those cheeks in the rump. And up. You'll feel the things are stretching in the back of the thighs, calves a little bit. And that's why we go slow. Not too much weight here. All right. Under 10 seconds. All right, take a break. Okay, so we're working a decent amount of low back, glutes in the rear, hamstring in the back of the thigh, calves are having to stabilize a little bit, abdominals are stabilizing, okay? A lot of those muscles from the kind of mid-back down are doing quite a bit of work. Grip, of course, make sure you got a nice firm grip on those dumbbells. Arms are just dangling basically, is all we're doing. It's just anchoring yourself. All right, so another minute, again, real gentle. let's start. And again, those knees can slightly bend as you go down to the bottom of whatever your range of motion is. And the knees will straighten and the hips will go forward. Keep breathing. Nice and controlled with your movements, especially as you go down and everything stretches. Real gentle. And thrust the hips forward, squeeze the cheeks on the rump together. Try not to let that low back round. Depending on how far you're going down, it may start to round at that bottom part. All right, nice job. Well done. Okay, we're looking at bicep curls and heel raises. So keep your dumbbells. And what we're looking at is your bicep curls. So bending the elbows fully, letting them straighten fully. Okay, all the way bent, all the way straight. Isolating just the elbows and just the bicep muscle and the upper arm. Okay, bicep curls, heel raise, up on the toes and back down. Up on the toes as high as you can and back down. What I like to do is a little toe pop, kind of back and forth. Rock, heels up, toes up. Heels up, toes up. Okay, so alternate or at the same time or piece it out into separate exercises. Whatever works for you. So up. Keep your balance. And again, whatever your coordination balance allows you to do safely. Slow and controlled. If you want to switch and go, let's see, up here. And then the toes, you can do that also. Again, it just depends on what works for you. You could stand against the wall with your back against the wall, give you a little bit of support. Just be careful you're not whacking your dumbbells against the wall. All right, take a break. So we got the calf muscles, gastrocnemius, tibialis anterior, and the shins when you bring those toes up. Okay, both those are important exercises, important muscles. And then bicep, upper arm, core, hips, everything has to stabilize a little bit as you're doing this. Maintain a good firm grip, dry hands, all right? You don't want to lose one of these dumbbells onto the floor or your foot. You got about 8 seconds. Tibialis anterior on the shin, important one. Allows us to lift those toes as we're walking around so we don't catch them on, shag carpet or stairs, curbs. All right. I'll adjust my bicep curl a little bit. So now I'm going into a supination and pronation, letting the forearms and wrists rotate as they go down and up. A little bit more muscles in the forearm. Also allows so the dumbbells aren't whacking against my hips maybe. If I've got a little wider hips or my shoulders are less narrow, sometimes larger dumbbells especially will start whacking your hips. So if you rotate, it gives you a little bit more room. 5 seconds, almost there. All right, nice job. Well done. Get rid of your dumbbell. Actually, we'll use one dumbbell for this one. So grab one dumbbell and your mat. We're going to be on the floor for this next one. So supine on your back, feet flat on the ground, knees up. I'm going to use one larger dumbbell here. All right, so here we are, supine, knees up, feet flat. We're going to pelvic tilt, so rotate the pelvis backwards, tightening and bearing down on the abdominals. Low back pushes into the ground. I hold that position for a couple seconds or 20 seconds, whatever I feel like, and then I can relax. Breathing the whole time. Pelvic tilt and hold, flexing the abdominal muscles. Now, while we do this, I'm going to grab the dumbbell, one hand on each bell here. Elbows are straight. I'm going to bend the elbows and straighten. We're doing a little skull crunch here. Of course, we want those elbows pointing up the whole time. We're isolating. The only thing moving is the elbows, not the shoulders. And pretend like the hand grip is going to come right down on the forehead. And you can relax that tilt. Take a break if you need to. Retilt and hold. Abdominals are tight. You're breathing. And now you're just bending and straightening the elbows. Take a break. Remember, nice and easy on this. Firm grip, dry hands. You don't want to lose this on your face here. Here we'll work on the tricep muscles behind the upper arms. Bend those elbows all the way and straighten them, locking them out. Good grip. All right, let's go for our second set here. Another minute. Nice and tight on those abdominals while breathing. And then triceps. Bending and straighten those elbows. You can do this with separate dumbbells if you want a little bit more weight. If you don't have a large dumbbell, one dumbbell in each hand is okay. You've just got to be able to control those arms independently so that they're bending and straightening and not hitting your head. There you go, always breathing. Take breaks if you need to. And again, just the elbow moving, no shoulders at all. This is not a pullover. All right, nice job. Okay. Time to get up. All right, next we have a cardiovascular. So getting rid of your dumbbell, get rid of your mat, clean up your space. Give yourself some room, nothing to trip over. All right. Okay, so again, cardio, we're just starting to move. We want to give ourselves, again, fairly brisk. We got about 2 minutes and 20 seconds here that we're going to go for. Get your breathing up. You might be sweating a little bit now. That's good. It's okay if you're not. Anytime you're thirsty, grab a sip of water. Have a glass of water or your water bottle or something close by. And just whenever you feel like it, get a sip. Keep hydrated. And if you need to sit down and do this, maybe the knees are bugging you today or something, or hips. Maybe you got an injured foot. Take a seat. You don't have to be weight bearing here. You can do all sorts of arm stuff, shoulder stuff. All the same movements can be done sitting, at least upper body wise. There you go, heart rate up, breathing up. Got just over a minute to go. breathing going, right? 25 seconds. Push hard. Come on. You're almost there. We'll do 3 more exercises. Let the heart and lungs get a little bit of a break. All right, nice job. Okay, so triple lunge is our next one. If you want, you can have a chair or a cane or something to kind of hold on to give you a little bit of stability and balance. So triple lunge, it's a lunge in 3 different directions on each leg. So I'll start with the right leg. First thing is what I'll do is kind of a diagonal front lunge. So as I do this, I'm going to shift, probably 60 to 80% of my weight onto this front leg. Let that bend. That back knee's going to bend a little bit. Heel can come up off the ground. I'm going to hinge forward and shift my weight over this foot. And I'll go down as far as I feel comfortable. And then step back to the middle. Now I'm going to go out to the side. Same sort of thing. Kind of sitting back and down. Keeping my weight over this foot. And then back to the middle. And then kind of a backwards one. Bend. Keep them, bend that knee. And then back to the front. Okay. So what I'll do is I'll keep it with just this leg, and then second minute I'll go to the other leg. How deep you go is up to you. Keeping most of your weight on that back leg or on the lunging leg. Nice big step. And let that back leg kind of move around. It doesn't have to stay, fully planted. And the heel can come off the ground, especially on this front diagonal. And that knee can bend a little bit. Remember to shift weight onto that lunging leg. And just kind of play around with your pattern. All right, take a break. So play around with your pattern. You can go front, side, back, or back, middle, front. You're just kind of playing around with what you're doing. You can go from a front to a back. Again, just kind of whatever works for you. And then what I'll do is I'll the second set, I'll do this all with my left leg. Same sort of thing, front to the side and then to the back. How deep you go is up to you. The deeper you go, the harder it's going to be. Let's start up here. So making sure that front knee, don't let that front knee go forward too far. You want that right above the, end of the shoelaces, between the shoelaces and the toes. Don't let that front knee or the lunging knee, don't let that go forward past the toes. And again, how deep you go is up to you, but keep most of your weight on that lunging knee. And then try to push yourself back to the middle too. Push yourself back to the middle. Don't let the right leg pull you. Use that outside lunging leg to push you back to the middle. About 10 seconds. All right, nice job, well done there. Okay, so let's see, grab your chair again and 1 dumbbell. So what we've got here is the seated lean back with the reverse wood chop. Okay, so on this one, what we're looking at is I'm going to sit on the front half of the chair so that I have room to lean backwards to let my abdominals do some work. I'm not sitting back against the back of the chair. And then what I'll do is I'm going to grab 1 dumbbell, 2 hands, and start opposite down at the hip, and then up to the shoulder. Okay. Down to the hip, up to the shoulder. So it's a diagonal from hip to opposite shoulder as I'm leaning back. Okay, lean back as far as you feel comfortable. Try to keep your feet on the ground though. Don't lean back so far that the feet come off the ground. Unless you're really, trying to work harder. But you want to make sure you have the balance and the stability for that. And here we're just doing a reverse wood chop. working the reverse part here. Opposite hip to opposite shoulder. While you're leaning back, make sure to breathe. If you need to take a break, sit upright. And you can keep up with the wood chop or not. And then lean back again. Torso can get a slight rotation involved. And then, you know, just going as far as those arms will let you. Down past the hip and then past the shoulder. All right, take a break there. And you can switch at any time, switch arms, or like what I'm going to do now on the second set, I'm going to start on the opposite side. Okay. Then whatever hand, usually the outside hand is going to be on top of the dumbbell. It just kind of depends on what's comfortable for you. How are you holding your dumbbell or your kettlebell or whatever you're using. But if it's a dumbbell, usually that top hand's a little easier than the bottom hand. It really doesn't matter much. It all depends on what's comfortable for you. All right, so leaning back, let's try it again. And across the body. Diagonal from hip to shoulder, both hands. And make sure to lean back a little bit at least, just to get those abdominals kicking in. Having to do more work. And of course, anytime we're working abdominals, we want to make sure we're breathing. Don't hold your breath at all. I think good posture. Your head really is just going to do whatever your chest is doing. And keep it comfortable. No pain or discomfort. Taking breaks as you need to. About 20 more seconds. Looking good there. You can keep breathing. How far you lean back is up to you. And of course the weight of your dumbbell or whatever you're using is going to work the shoulders, the chest. All right, nice job there. Okay, so one more exercise here we've got. So you can get rid of your chair and grab your resistance tubing. With or without a handle, either way. All right, so this one a little different. I want to kind of coin the Superman here. So think about the old Superman movies. Christopher Reeve, he flies, you know, like this, one fist out, one fist down sort of thing. So what we're going to do is we're going to work the chest and arm pushing and this other arm pulling. Okay, so what you want to do is probably grab a little bit and wrap around. Especially if you don't have handles, you might want to wrap both hands. But you want to start a little bit more in the middle here, so that what I'm going to do is I'm going to brace my abdominals, give myself a good stance, kind of a lunge stance, and then one arm is going to push out, straighten the elbow, and the other arm is going to pull back. Okay, like I'm pulling back a bow and arrow. So at the same time here, pull. There you go. And it actually is probably going to work better without the handle. The handle is just too long and it doesn't give any kind of resistance. So I'll do here. Yeah, this is going to work much better. So pushing out. And again, one arm is pushing out till the elbow's straight. So we're getting some chest and tricep and deltoid. And the other arm is pulling back, getting some bicep. Take a break there. Getting some bicep and upper back and back of the shoulder. Okay, so side view. Again, we're kind of starting in the front here so that at the same time I'm getting one arm pushing out and one arm pulling. So head is going to look kind of forward over this shoulder. All right, so now what I'll do is I'll switch. And now I'm going to do the opposite side here. Okay, so now I'm pushing out with the opposite hand. All right, so let's get in position. And here we go. Let's start this right here. That's better, yeah. So find whatever position works for you. And get a little bit more pull. Adjust that resistance till you get it just right. You want to get some resistance on both arms. And you don't want to go back with the elbow. We want to keep that hand close to the armpit as if we're doing a rowing exercise. Both arms are going to move. How much they do, and which one moves a little more or not. It kind of just depends on your resistance and where you're grabbing and holding from. But just trying to get both those arms doing a little bit of work. Having both fists point forward. There you go. Keep breathing. Think decent posture here. All right, nice job there. Well done. All right, so we've got our last cardiovascular, so you can get rid of your resistance tubing. Clean up your area, grab a sip of water if you want to, or you can get right on it. All right, let's get moving on. Kind of a cross toe tap behind. And I'm just pushing those straight arms back. And I'll have my palms face each other on this one. And we're officially going 2 minutes and 22 seconds. So our last cardio. Start ramping it up in the next 10-15 seconds. And I'm just hinged forward slightly from the waist. Squeezing those shoulder blades together every time those arms go back. All right, let's go back to a regular narrow march. And let's do some scissors. So palms are faced up on this, elbows are bent, tucked in at my ribs, and I'm just rotating the shoulders. Hands are kind of going above and under each other. Nice and controlled. Make sure you do this with no resistance. Keep it going. All right. About 1 minute and 20 left. All right. Let's go some punches forward. And I'm going to keep a nice wide tap with the feet. Punching down a little bit more here. Down and across. And now back to the middle. About chest height. And up a little higher. Across the face. Keep those feet wide. About 45 seconds left. All right. Let's go back to some of these guys. So palms facing each other. We'll get a hammer curl in along with our knee curls, working those hamstrings. All right, back to some regular marching and wide marches and narrow and wide and narrow. 10 seconds. Wide and narrow. Wide, narrow, wide, and narrow. All right, well, let's keep on marching. So we got to cool down. We're going to incorporate some balance with cool down here. So I'm going to stop the timer. Let's keep moving. Just for a good 30 seconds, just kind of keep moving aimlessly. We're actively trying to get the heart rate down. So it's the opposite of our warm-up. Our heart rate's up a little bit from this last cardio. We don't want to just take a seat and let the blood pool somewhere in the muscles. We want it pumping through the body, actively getting back to the brain more. So we want to keep moving, keep breathing at a good pace. We'd like to get that heart rate below 100 beats per minute. Is what we're shooting for. Grab your water, walk around, for a couple seconds. We're going to do some balancing while we're moving, so it'll we're still cooling down while we do that. All right, so grab your dumbbell. We're going to do a little tightrope walking with the dumbbell. So think about your tightrope. Could be as wide as your hips. So a nice wide, tightrope, easy to walk. Okay, could be more narrow, like as wide as two of your feet put together. So that gets a little tougher to do. Especially if you're going backwards, be aware of your surroundings, how many steps you can take before you bonk into things. And then, of course, maybe your tightrope is as wide as 1 foot, and so it gets even tougher. Okay, so the width of your tightrope, and then also how close your steps are. If I'm taking a good sized step, not too hard. Okay, if I take a smaller step where I'm touching heel to toe together, now it gets even tougher. Okay, close one eye, close both eyes. Holding that dumbbell, especially if it's a heavier dumbbell, is gonna, it's gonna throw you off a little bit, especially just one dumbbell. There you go. All right. Now what you can do is you can kind of pass this dumbbell back and forth between your hands. Be careful. All right. A little bit of that work here. Just make sure you have the room. You're not going to punch the wall with the dumbbell. Nice and controlled. Actually, let's go one more round here. And let's go up and down. And remember how small that tightrope is, and how small of a step you take is up to you. And if you're using a dumbbell or not is up to you. I want it to be a challenge, but I want it to be a safe challenge. One more on the way back. I'm just trying to use feeling here. I'm not looking at my feet. Moving the dumbbell at the same time. Coordination and balance. All right, let's get rid of the dumbbell. Nice job there. Okay, let's do a sleeping dog exercise here. Think about if you have small dogs that are asleep, maybe you've got 3 of them in a row. Or, maybe you've just got one, because that's all the space you have. And you're stepping up and over, and then up and over again. It all depends on your space. I've got enough space for about 3 or 4 dogs, so that's what I'm going to step over. Now, the larger those dogs are, harder it's going to be. A little more balance. Instead of a Chihuahua, maybe you've got a large German Shepherd and having to step over without waking them up. Okay. Right, nice big steps. Controlled. All right, now we're going to pause a little bit. So I'm going to step and freeze. So I'm going to step, and now I got to freeze. Dog's about to wake up. Don't want to wake him up. Step over and freeze. And again, how big those dogs are up to you. Maybe it's a small dog. Step over and freeze. Okay. How long you freeze for is up to you also. I could freeze, pause for a second. Okay. Or I can pause for 3 seconds or 5 or 10 seconds. All up to you. Nice and easy. I'm going to go one more round back. And I'll freeze. And one more. So working the hips, working the balance and coordination. All right, nice job there. Let's do a little bit of toe walking and heel walking to finish this up. All right, so I'm walking on my toes here, forward and backward, or side to side, or maybe I'm in one spot, tick-tock back and forth. Okay, up to you what you want to do, but just try to stay on your toes nice and high. Working those calf muscles, working your balance and coordination. Now let's switch to heels. Okay, so now toes are in the air and working the heels. The shin muscles are getting some work, balance and coordination. Again, I can go forward or backwards or side to side, or I can tick-tock. Nice and easy. Controlled and safe. And especially if you got carpets or rugs, pick those feet up. All right, let's do some stretches. Nice job there. So first stretch we're going to do, we're going to stretch out the back of the thigh and behind the knee and the rump, the calf. I'm going to squat down. I'm going to hinge forward, dig in the heel on this front leg that I'm just going to stretch. And I'm just going to lean forward and squat until I feel a stretch behind the knee, behind the thigh. I want my toe pointed forward, leg is right in front of me. I'm just going to take a seat nice and slow and give a good stretch behind the knee, behind the thigh. You might feel it on the calf. No jerking, no bouncing, nice and easy. Let's switch legs. Okay. This view here. So nice and easy. If you want less of calf, just let that toe, sink down to the floor more. If you want more calf involved, bring those toes up towards your face. Try not to let the toes and the leg roll out. Try to keep everything forward. Real gentle. Good 20 or 30 seconds is what we're trying for. Low back is straight. I'm not rounding out. I'm just hinging forward, head and chest forward, breathing the whole time. All right, nice job. So now what we're going to do is stretch here. I'm going to pelvic tilt. So I'm going to rotate the pelvis forward like we did with our pelvic tilts laying down. That low back is going to straighten and flatten out. I'm going to brace my abdominals. As I hold that position, I'm going to interlace my hands and fingers together, palms facing me, and then I'm going to push out as far as I can. So now I'm going to round out my upper and middle back. Head is going to look neutral. And I'm going to straighten those elbows and push my hands away from my body as far as I can, stretching out the back. My forearms are getting a little bit of a stretch here too, with the wrists that are bent. Keep breathing. All right, nice job here. Okay, last stretch here. Something for the chest and the front. We're going to bring our arms up here at a 90-degree angle. So 90 degrees between the elbow and the armpit. Okay, so 90 degrees both directions. And now I'm going to bring those arms backwards, squeezing my shoulder blades together. I'll let my chest stick out. I want to stretch my chest and the fronts of the shoulders. I'll bring my hands together behind my head or ears and really try to get those elbows back, squeezing my shoulder blades together towards my spine. I can let those hips come forward. Nice deep breathing. Let's straighten those elbows. Palms up and thumbs backwards. And again, reach open nice and wide. And now let's dip our fingers and wrists down and back. So we'll stretch out those forearms and wrists and palms. You can feel the stretch there. Keep breathing. All right. Just shake it all out. Nice job. All right. Excellent work today. Thanks for being here.